Welcome to Stick at Night. I'm your Hudson County Commissioner representing District 5, Hoboken and Jersey City, Anthony O. Romano. With us today, we have another interesting guest I've had the pleasure of meeting over the last couple of weeks. And he's dynamic, he's caring, and I think that he's a really big, good addition to Jersey City. He's the president of the Jersey City Young Democrats, and with us today is Cory Garriga. Cory, welcome.
Thank you for having me on. It's a pleasure.
All right, tell us about you. How did you get involved in the Young Democrats? Tell us some of the people that you're working with. Tell us born and raised and anything you want.
Jersey City, New Jersey, born and raised, Greenville boy. Spent a couple of years here up in North Bergen there, and just really learning my way around.
But no wonder you seem to be so sensible. You're Hudson County born and raised.
Born and raised.
Go ahead.
Absolutely. So my involvement actually stemmed from, my parents instilling in me and my two brothers the impact and the value of, being of service to the community. So for us, we took that in three separate but positive directions. And for me, it was getting involved with nonprofits. That started with starting my own nonprofit, which focused on collecting clothing and toiletries for the patients at Meadowview Psychiatric Hospital. And that eventually took me to more nonprofit work working with Governor McGreevey, doing prisoner reentry work. I ran his legal program. And
when he was governor?
No, former.
I was going to say too young.
No. Yeah. So, but he had NJRC, he still does, and it's, a program that focuses on returning citizens. So what I did there was I helped run the legal program. I came in as an intern, I guess my output was so good, got offered more responsibilities there. And I was able to take that and connect with other community members, community organizers in Jersey City and all across the state, really. And
are you employed by them?
No. Now I work for the Jersey City Board of Education as a records clerk.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So ultimately, throughout that time, former Governor Jim McGreevey gives you advice, on how to, do things and how to achieve those goals that you want to do. So with that, I got into working with the New Jersey Young Democrats. This was back in 2017, 2018, as a statewide organization in the Hudson County Young Democrats. And that put us
What
all...
is the difference? That is the Hudson.
So the Hudson County Young Democrats is a local chapter. Now, each county has a chapter for the statewide organization. Jersey City is unique because us and Camden City are the only cities that have their own chapter. And that's really because we're big enough where our location really we could really service our own members as opposed to a county-wide organization that's really dealing with the county as a whole. So for us, it was connecting with the state chapter. I sat down and I was talking to Commissioner Bill O'Day, who's my mentor.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So for us, I was having a conversation with him, and Commissioner O'Day is not the type of person who you say, "How do I help?" You come prepared to work. You give ideas and go to work.
He's one of the smartest people I've ever met in my life.
Right. So for me, I take that guidance, and it became, well, how can I be of service to the community? How can I be of service to Jersey City? So that really played out. That conversation evolved into getting the youth, involved into Jersey City and Hudson County politics, knowing who's who, how the government works. There are people who want to become campaign managers, right? But there's nobody who they don't have the resources to do that. So what we do, why we're here, is to offer a space for those interested in being an elected official and those interested in being a staffer in some sort of support role, whether that's campaign manager or a professional fundraiser. We partner up with workshops, people who run workshops, to get you that education. So for instance, we have a letter to the editor coming up on June 28th at 902 Brewing Company in Jersey City. John Highness is giving that workshop. So that's something that our members and the general public will come to. They know how to walk away with one of the tools that's used in this field. And there's other things that we've already planned that's, it's just a time thing waiting for it to come up. how to write a letter to, how to write a bio, how to write your own bio. You know, I've worked for so many nonprofits as a community organizer, and there's just no way to, when they've asked me, could you provide us a bio about yourself? There was just no way for me to put all the things I did in just simple words, and there's ways to effectively do that. So we want to make sure that all of our members are coming to us to learn something and able to walk away with something with value. We want to create firsthand experiences. If someone wants to be a campaign manager, we work with a campaign, we get you all the experience you need. You're going to learn how to use NGP Van, right? We bought the software for NGP Van. So like for us, that's like firsthand experience. You learn how to fundraise, you learn your way around it. We're setting up workshops for things like that. And that way you can accurately and confidently go to a campaign in the future and say, I know how to do this.
So then next year that I'm up for re-election, I would like to hire you, gentlemen and ladies.
Yeah, and that's really what it is. We're setting up.
And I do represent Jersey City.
So for us, it's one of the conversations we've had with someone who's a candidate was, in terms of fundraising, we said, hey, would you be interested in helping us fundraise? And the goal of it is whoever wins would be, that candidate for a day. They would learn about what you do, what it takes for a mayoral candidate, what it takes for a congressional candidate or someone running for city council, what it takes for them to do that on their day-to-day.
Do you interact with Mayor Fulop or any of the?
Yeah, to a limited extent. We're in Jersey City, we're trying to work with everyone who's an elected official. We want to make sure that our reach is beneficial to both sides, our members and to elected official and anyone who's running. We want to be able to provide support, and not only that, but give our members that experience so they can walk away and say, yeah, I've had experience with doing this.
So basically your members would like someday to want to hold elective office too.
Our members, as of right now, we have about, I'd say, upwards of 30 members who have already committed, who are going to our events. Some of them are wannabe staffers. Some of them have expressed their desire to run for elected office. Where that is and the timing of that's up to them. And that's really how we approach things.
Well, when we come back from our break, I'd like to ask you questions about how you're interacting, some of the members that you have on your board, and hopefully what successes and goals that you are reaching for this year.
Absolutely.
We'll be right back with Stick at Night.
We have to be able to police ourselves because we don't want anybody to tarnish our badge.
When internal affairs complaints are not handled properly, the public may believe that most officers commit crimes, when in fact that's not true. Most officers are professional. Most officers do not commit crimes.
If complaints aren't taken properly and the community that we serve doesn't have a trust in the police department, there has to be legitimacy. If the community doesn't trust the police, how could we effectively serve them? And by having a really comprehensive internal affairs unit that handles the complaints properly and people have trust in the system, it enables us to do our entire job as a police department much better.
We need the community as much as they need us. So that citizen that has lost trust in the community could be a very important witness for us tomorrow.
Hudson TMA reminds you that before you ride, you should perform the ABC Quick Check. Here's how to do it.
You don't want your bike to fail you, so get in the habit of doing the ABC Quick Check before you ride. A is for air. Check that your tires are properly inflated. They should be pumped up to the inflation rating printed on the tire. Many bicycle pumps come with a pressure gauge, so you can make sure they're properly inflated. Low pressure tires can easily puncture. B is for brakes. Check that your brakes are working. Your brake lever shouldn't come closer than a thumb's width to the handlebar. Your wheel should spin freely when the brakes are off. C is for the cranks, chain, and cassette. Grab both crank arms like this and wiggle them to make sure they aren't loose. Spin the pedals and make sure the chain runs smoothly through the gears. Quick, means making sure your wheels are on tight if you have quick release wheels. The wheels should be snug in the dropouts and the quick release lever fastened tight.
Welcome back to Stick at Night. Let's continue this conversation with Cory, the president of the Jersey City Young Democrats. Tell us about your staff before I have some other questions about the van and that. But
So the executive board, apart from me being president, we have LaKendrick Shaw as vice president, phenomenal Board of Education trustee there. We have Maxine Mandel. She is a committee woman in Jersey City. She serves as our secretary. She helps us out a lot with keeping everything together. We have Francesca Baroni as our treasurer. And then we have Maurice J. DeStefano, who's our sergeant of arms and parliamentarian. You know, he really keeps an eye on, you know, the meetings, making sure that we're within time and making sure everything goes smoothly. And then Robert Rules of Orders. You know, that's
so you're
important.
pretty organized. Where do you meet?
Well, we meet anywhere we can, candidly. You know, we officially had elections in April 16th. May 14th was our inaugural event to highlight to the public and the elected officials what we were about. So we've been basically moneyballing it wherever we can get free or low cost space. Sometimes we have to utilize on Zoom. Yesterday, we actually had a meeting in, you know, one of the high rises. One of the members actually was fortunate enough to live there, and we have the conference room available. You know, so it's really of what is, you know, what our resources are.
What campaigns have you worked on so far?
Yeah, so for me personally, I did a lot of canvassing. I have done canvassing for city council members. That would be, I remember when 2013 happened, we helped out. I personally had helped out Michael Youn a little bit. That was my, you know, foray into it. On the city level, I also had helped out Mayor Fulop in some of his campaigns there, being canvasser, doing door to door.
Do you guys vote amongst your executive board what candidates you will help and support?
Yeah, as of right now, those conversations are being had. We're taking a thorough look. Right now, everyone from the establishment gets, everyone who's an elected official gets that automatic support. And the reason why is because they came out to us and gave us that automatic support. And it's really building with them what we can do. You know, candidly, every elected official is a busy person, you know, so we have to be mindful of how we're working with everybody in terms of resources. We don't want to take away anyone's resources from the general public. So it comes to how we can get involved on a community level, how we can get involved in terms of helping them, and ultimately how we can get involved to helping ourselves as well.
Tell us about the van.
So NGP Van is a software that's used for fundraising. You could plug that in. It could be integrated with other software that could be used, like ActBlue, things like that. So for us, it was important to get that because we are starting that fundraising phase. We've already got a few fundraisers set up. So for us, it was, we had set up ActBlue, we had set up NGP Van, and we had wanted to be able to secure all the email information that we had received, you know, so we could keep in constant contact, because NGP Van is set up so we can, you know, send out those emails, so we could send out everything that we need to in order to maintain a robust fundraising program. You know, one of the things, our first fundraiser that we have coming up is on July 19th. It's with Councilman Yousef Saleh. And he's the councilman for Ward D of Jersey City.
He's my councilman in Ward D.
Yeah. So one of the things that we did, we had set it up with the location Brightside Tavern. And what we did was we set up, it's $50, right? And what you get is you get your dinner, you get your drinks, you get karaoke. And on top of that, every winner gets, every person who purchases a ticket gets automatically included in a draw to get lunch
And
with
where
him.
are you having it?
Brightside Tavern.
Oh, not in his district. Okay.
There's a reason why. The reason why was because we wanted to make sure we were getting enough people from the PAT station, from that area, to come down. We are going to have, when it's specifically meet and greets with Councilman Saleh, it's going to be in his area. For us, it was more of a Young Democrats fundraiser. So we had to use the resources available. Tommy from the Bright Side gave us a really
Great
good
guy.
deal.
Great guy.
It is one of those
Amazing
things you just
man.
couldn't
Giver, a real giver, heart of gold.
Yes, and that's why we had to use the resources available to
She
us.
just had me thrown for a loop because he's the councilman up in the Heights, and here he is in down on Garfield.
It that popped up. That was immediately brought up in the conversation amongst planning, and it was the way we justified it was it's not Councilman Saleh's event, it's our event, and he's helping us. That was the mindset we took.
Now, how do you work with the Hudson County Young Democratic organization?
Yeah, so the Hudson County Young
who's
Democrats.
who's the head of that?
Amy Faccaraccio is the president of the Hudson County Young Democrats. Phenomenal woman. She does a lot of great work in North Hudson. She runs the North Bergen Cares nonprofit there. So, I worked with her a little bit for the Hudson County Young Democrats. I was originally their sergeant of arms. So for me, it was, learning, seeing how she handled herself, how she carried herself, and, that daily operations. The Hudson County Young Dems, they do what they do in North Hudson and the rest of the county, and us, we focus on Jersey City. So they have a lot on their plate.
So they don't work with Jersey City?
No, they do, but for us, when we came to the table, I had contacted Fatima Hayward, the president of the New Jersey Young Democrats, and I said, "Listen, this is what I'd like to do." It was right off the pandemic, and I said, "I feel Jersey City, we need a focus on Jersey City youth and Jersey City community projects." So we had a conversation, and that conversation ultimately led to me reaching out to Amy to say, "Listen, this is what we're doing. How can we make this work?" So, I had to be mindful that we're not cutting into any of the projects that she's doing.
Right.
That's really important. So with that said, it's just collaborating with each other.
When you say Young Democrat, is there a certain cutoff in age that belongs to the
Sure,
Young Dems?
right. So for Jersey City Young Democrats,
I wouldn't be a Young Democrat.
well, 18 to 40 is our membership demographic. That's the age range. There are other chapters who do 18 to 30, 18 to 35. For us, it's 18 to 40. And I basically had to look at my surrounding, and I had to, like I said, moneyball. I realized that there's not going to be too much involvement from 18 to 25. My involvement's really coming from 20 to 40. That's really
25 to 40.
Yeah, 25 to 40. So I kind of just am building off of that in hopes to gain those younger members. We do have some younger members. We have two 18-year-olds who are in high school that are involved doing different things. And for us, that...
Well, what I'd like to do is, as soon as we come back from break, we'll continue that discussion. I'm your county commissioner with Cory. Come right back with us.
Not everyone celebrates the birth of a baby. You have options. Don't panic. New Jersey has safe havens for unwanted infants. Leave the baby with staff at any hospital, ER, police or fire station, or rescue squad. Call the number on your screen for safe haven locations or go to www.njsafehaven.org. No shame, no blame, no names. Safe Haven.
For me, I just felt like it had to be done. As an EMT, I saw things that I saw how it affected the community, and honestly, I just felt like I had to do it. My family was very against the vaccine at first, but I kind of felt the need to do it so I can kind of just let them know it's gonna be okay. It's science. It's a pandemic. There's a virus going around, and we need to stop it. And I feel like we live in an era where we have the technology to do that. It would just bring me peace as somebody in the front lines. That's the only word I can say, is just peace, because I saw people that had passed away, and I saw how it affected their families, being in that moment when we had to tell them, they're no longer here. So living in a world with no pandemic, honestly, it just kind of would make me feel more peaceful. When that peak happened of COVID, let me tell you, I was working maybe like 4 days because they needed the extra manpower. We needed extra trucks on, and we had help from FEMA. Not to mention, our call volume is normally between 5 to 8 jobs on the 12-hour shift. When COVID hit, it was literally nonstop, and they were all COVID related, every single one of them. Once this whole thing is over, I would love to see everybody to just be in a place where they don't have to be scared to give out hugs or handshakes or just, just to say hi, They don't have to hide in their own, residence.
Hudson TMA reminds you that a bicycle is considered a vehicle. When you ride a bike, you must obey the rules of the road.
Ride single file in the same direction as traffic. Obey traffic signs and signals. Signal your turns and look behind you before you turn. And always stay alert.
Welcome back to Stick at Night. County Commissioner Anthony Romano here with Cory, the president of the Jersey City Young Dems. Cory, tell us about your membership goals with your membership director, Dane.
Yeah, so we have Dane Calcagney, who's our membership director. Phenomenal guy, great personality. So one of the things that I realized that he's great at is having that conversation, how to recruit. He actually recruited me for a couple of volunteer opportunities, right? So Dane focuses on getting other members, like-minded people. We don't want to just take anyone in. We want people who are actually going to work, who's going to put things in, not just, hey, let me know how I can help. So Dane is integral to identifying those key individuals, people who want to work. So basically what we're doing is we're hitting social media hard. We're inviting people to come out to our events so we can have conversations with them, get to know them. That's why we have our social events. Our meet and greets. That way we could get to know somebody on a one-on-one level, get them drawn in. We find out their passion projects. What do they want to achieve? And that's where fundraising helps us to achieve those individual passion projects.
I'll be buying a ticket to your fundraiser. So
okay, excellent. We appreciate that. For us, we want to be able to draw members in and retain members, and not just retain, but engage them. I'm also, candidly speaking, I'm also the Grand Knight of a local Knights of Columbus group. And we have members who are really inactive. They're there, they pay their dues. We're happy with that. But also we need individuals that step up and get involved.
we just resurrected the Knights of Columbus in Hoboken.
Excellent.
Which was at one time a phenomenal organization when I was a very young boy, and then
Right.
it just withered to actually collapsing, and it's just reorganizing, regenerating it now. So
Yeah.
I see what you mean there.
Yeah.
That's a good thing that you're a Knight.
Yeah.
Our faith is important.
Absolutely.
And I guess what you're doing, blending it in, what you said about the goals of the Young Dems is very important, because this is the most probably culturally diverse county in the United States.
Absolutely, yeah. I remember, I think, something on NJ.com, we were #1 in the nation in terms of diversity. So for us, it's really playing to that. I know in the state of New Jersey, I did redistricting work on the congressional and state level involving the public hearings and map making.
Good thing you not did it on the county level. Bill's
Yeah, no.
Bill and I got shuffled.
Yeah. With that said, I realized that New Jersey is at 48% minority population. And actually, what's really interesting is that the census actually released a statement that said, we are confident that the numbers going forward are going to be very different because of the way how questions were worded in the past on demographics. So there is a chance that New Jersey is more than 48% minority, right? And that's something that we as an organization want to capitalize on. We want to push diversity. We want to push like that individual personality. We want people to shine in what they're doing. That's why they're coming to us. When our inaugural event, right? Somebody had reached out to me like a week prior, 17 years old, and I had utilized him for redistricting. I helped him craft testimony, put him in front of the Public Hearing Commission, and he had asked if there was ways that he can improve public speaking. and writing a speech and all of that. So one of the things I did was, hey, if you want, you can be at our event and speak on that. Speak on the importance of youth involvement in politics and in this industry. And that's one of the things immediately he did. He executed it so well. And he was able to get that public official engagement to them, where he was talking to them in terms of asking for our support. So it was great.
Did you work on the Menendez campaign at all?
I do. Rob Jr.'s campaign? Yes. So one of the things that we did was we helped them with phone banking. We helped them with canvassing. So immediately, once it's funny because we had happened to run into him at an abortion rights rally in downtown, actually outside the Matt Cali building, and just bumped into him, introduced myself, gave him a card, and since then it was like he included us on a lot of events, and that was really firsthand experience for us. It wasn't just like, oh, why don't you come here and help out? It was like, no, it was, this is how you do this is how you do that. So it was wonderful.
Well, he's in the vanguard of all things that are changing.
Yes.
It's generational. It's passing the baton, as they say, which is going to be happening. Hudson County is a blend of mostly older leadership. Then you have Senator Stack is in the middle. Yeah. And then you have Mayor Fulop, who's in the, he just is over the young age as far as the way you define it. So it is interesting that you're going to see change in Hudson County over the course of the next 5-10 years.
Yeah, I think, you bring up a good point, and that's why I felt it was the right time to put this all together. With everything going on in terms of reorganization and in terms of, elections, we wanted to make sure that we had members that were, or members of the community that was getting involved. If you walk up to somebody out in the street right now in Jersey City and say, hey, how do you run for public office? They don't know, right? They just say, oh, well, you get involved with the community. Yes. Well, there's more to it than that. It's about building a name for yourself. It's about building relationships with with organizations.
Well, here's something that I'm going to throw at you, and I'm just curious what you're going to say. Do you have any kind of dialogue with young Republicans?
Well, not as of yet. So we are looking at who our neighbors are. We did get an invite to collaborate with the Hudson County Young Republicans. We did get a message on social media, and really it's about how to fit that into something. Maybe we could do something for the summer or the fall.
I think it's important that the young, both Democrats and Republicans, try to get away from what is happening nationally.
Absolutely.
Even locally, this animosity.
Absolutely.
Where it becomes personal. I look back to when I was very young, Ronald Reagan and Tip O'Neill, the respect that they had for one another, even if they don't agree on an issue, that they were able to go have a cup of coffee or something to eat together to discuss things. One does not have to agree with everything one believes, but the respect seemed to be lost here, and it's just like personal, and it's hateful, and it's just so wrong. And hopefully it's going to be young people as yourself that do it. Well, thank you, Cory, for being on board. Everyone out there, thank you. It's Commissioner Romano for Stick at Night. God bless and take care.